All right. Well, we just had this guy, my friend Nick Cannon, on the Jason Lee show soon. And now here we are talking about his love life again. I want to put a disclaimer up, Nick. I don't want to talk about your love life. I don't want to talk about your relationship with Jessica White. I don't want to talk about anything. However, we're going to because Jessica wrote a whole book yesterday on social media. Now, this is Jessica White and our friend Jessica White and our friend Nicholas Cannon, who are in a relationship together. And she's been very quiet about their relationship. And we all know that Nick has had 10 children since they were an item. Because remember, he had the two by Mariah already, but then he fell in love with her. And this was like his boo boo, like his soulmate. And she said he's a soulmate. And he said, and then he went and had 10 more children with all these other women. And he talked about it on our show about the women and the kids and all that. We know Nick is a great dad and he's a great provider. And he's slanging dick and slanging that sway all over America during Christmas time to make sure each kid has a gift. Well, let me tell you what else is slanging. Mud. And Jessica is at the helm of it. She went and wrote a whole book on social media. Now, I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's a lot. But let me first show you a photo of them in happier times. This is them hanging out in different places. It looks like they're both outside here. I don't see nothing on an island or a yacht, but I'm sure they did that too. Now, they began publicly dating in 2015. That was when I started Hollywood Unlocked. And after this is when this is when he split from his then ex or his ex-wife, now Mariah Carey. They had an on and off relationship again until 2020. Now, 2021, Jessica came on my last podcast, Hollywood Unlocked Uncensored. We traveled to the backyard of her house, sat up on a couch, some pool furniture, me, Blue, and Damage, and her, and we had a whole conversation about their relationship. And this was the first time she broke her silence. Look, had it been discovered they had a kid with Brittany Bell, another kid, second kid. Mm-hmm. You weren't aware that she was pregnant?
No, but she was aware that I had just had a miscarriage 2 weeks prior to her news coming out because he told me that he told her. And I was living at his house, and she knew that as well. But I found out on Instagram along with the rest of the world.
And wow. Did you feel betrayal at that point?
I felt a lot of things, which I won't even relive. Because you have to remember, I was going through still my hormonal changes, and we were about to start in vitro. So when I came out, people thought like, oh, I was this homewrecker. No, there was a real life going on. I was bullied for months with that whole situation because I was still trying to be nice about it. And like, I didn't break up. We didn't break up right away. We were actually still trying to, work things out.
Well, we had Nick on the Jason Lee show, and Nick actually talked about Jessica. Look.
Expose.
It was not an expose. It was an interview with Jessica,
who we love dearly, who is extremely talented, who is the beauty is obviously that doesn't even be spoken about. One of the most beautiful women on the planet, but
who you were in love with,
still in love with,
who I think you're still in love with, who was even part of season opening of like season 16 or whatever 7. I can't remember.
That girl, like you
were chasing her.
Yeah, she's been my muse for a long time. And it's been
Jessica White.
Jessica White. One of the reasons why is because one, that woman has overcome so much, and it's just a light and an angel to so many, and just operates on a higher frequency. But also when is sensitive and delicate. So when you have outside influences and people talking and always in your business, that could be like you can't treat an angel like that. You can't constantly put negativity on somebody who can't handle negativity. She don't speak negativity.
Even though Jessica shared what she thought on the Jason Lee or the last Hollywood Unlocked podcast, she actually penned an open letter. I would say she penned an open book about it, and she posted on her Instagram. This is what she said. Now, I'm going to just leave it here for a while. Matter of fact, y'all can screenshot and go back and reread it. She basically says she's learned how to love herself now, and she's more respectful to Nick than she ever was. She's more respectful to Nick than he ever was to her, especially when it comes to public announcements. And during their 8 years together, she says that she was his ride or die and that she prayed that he treat her the way she deserved. She says that she felt insanely insecure and emotionally unhealthy in the relationship, which were feelings she had before Nick, but with him it worsened. And she also tells Nick that it's not his fault, but that she did feel that he always put his other women on a pedestal, and it drove her crazy. Now, she went on to say that her and Nick were both broken at the time, and that he ended up hurting. They ended up hurting each other more, and that's why I say now that I am like exploring relationships and I go back and forth, I teeter-totter on what that looks like every day. I'm telling the people that I'm talking to, if it was to become anything serious, we have to go to therapy together, because we have to make sure we're not triggering each other's traumas or hurting each other or whatever. And I don't know, you're in a relationship. Are relationships this complicated? Is it more complicated getting in, or is it more complicated when you're in it?
Staying in it.
Really?
It's easy to stay in it. Yeah. You every day you want to be in a relationship, and you're like, no, never mind.
I'm talking to you
No,
about
I know.
being
I'm just
in
saying,
a relationship.
for people, I feel like for people to get into something, it's like a job, right? It's easy to sign the contract and start a job, but to maintain a job and try to get promotion and like, you know what I mean? I feel like anything's just harder to maintain. So it's easy to get a BBL, but you got to maintain it.
But when you're ready to, yeah, but a BBL is fake and a relationship is supposed to be real. So that's
Ooh,
different. So
period.
now when
That's
you're
a
in a
word.
relationship, do you ever feel, does the thought of ever leaving a relationship happen? Is it normal to have thoughts of leaving a relationship? Or do you get in and say, we're in it no matter what?
I mean, for me personally, when I got into a relationship, I was like, okay, I'm going to do what I can to work on it. But I am the type to be impulsive and be like, fuck you, I'm done, da da da. But yeah, it's the thought to leave. But I feel like you should get into a relationship knowing you're going to fight for it.
Interesting. Well, I'm still waiting to meet somebody that I actually want to fight for. I haven't met that person yet. Well, it looks like Jessica wanted to fight for Nick, but Nick didn't fight. Or maybe he did fight to keep it, but just it was too much. I don't know. Because you do get to a point where no matter how much you love a person, no matter what benefits come with the relationship, where it's run its course. Like happiness, especially when you get to 45, you just don't have no time to be unhappy, right?
Yeah.
But also, I feel like Nick Cannon is like an untamable man. He just want to
He was tame for a while with Mariah.
a while
And that's
ago.
who he said is his soulmate.
Mm-hmm.
But he
He
said
did say that.
he did say that, but he said Kim was his soulmate too. He said a million people were his soulmate in our interview.
Okay, but there's a difference between a whole mate and a soulmate.
What's a
But I feel like
soulmate?
he treats all
A
of these.
woman that has a hole, who gave it to him, and that's Kim. Mariah is a soulmate.
But I feel like he treats all of
And
these
if you
women
date a girl
respectfully.
with muscle, she's a swolemate.
I never heard these words.
Just like a man that don't have a place to live, you fucking him for a place to live. That's a homeless sexual. A woman with too many muscles is a swolemate. All right, bye. Good luck, Jessica. I hope you find you're happy.